in the caption just because people
Oh,
can
yeah,
understand.
that's true. That's true. Hey guys, okay, we are live. I am here with Mr. Coach Shay, and we are here to be talking about Ramadan, and he's going to be educating us. Shay, do you want to give us a great introduction?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Coach Shay, or my name is Shay, and I'm an online fitness coach, just like Sam over here. I'm from Ontario, Kitchener, Ontario, and I've been an online coach since 2016. And yeah, like I've helped over 100 people over the last year and a half, and I'm honestly like so grateful that I'm in a position to help change other people's lives, just like Sam with their health and fitness, and show them like what they can accomplish, like how to get more confident, and just like really. I don't want to say step into your power because that's what I was gonna say, but like find your potential, like see what you're capable of. Because as human
Mhm.
beings, like we always undermine ourselves, and I really truly pride myself in like helping other people, finding that potential when through fitness, and like show them that hey, like you can do other, like you can apply that to other areas of life, and you can and grow in other areas of life if you were to like push yourself in the form of physical improvement, or like physical betterment, physical development, because that's the hardest thing.
Mhm.
That's what I want to teach people, is like
I love that.
how to improve your life through physical development, and how to apply that in other areas of life too. Yeah.
Then you're the right man for this job in particular. Today's topic, we were just having a great old discussion before going live, and I think that you have a heart of freaking gold and you are going to be able to help a lot of people. We are grateful to have you here today, guys.
Thank you.
So, today we're going to be discussing wellness and fitness during Ramadan, and this is a wonderful celebration and it affects a lot of people around the world. So I wanted to touch base because we have a huge audience here as well that kind of touches on this. And I wanted to give you guys the appropriate knowledge from somebody who is a fitness professional that actively practices this lovely, lovely practice. So Shay, do you want to kind of walk us through what exactly is Ramadan?
Yeah, for sure. So can I go in depth there, like?
Yeah, go for it. You
So
do what you need.
perfect. So basically, like, and I'll tell you like what my interpretation of it, because like other people will tell you other things, but like for me, like Ramadan means gaining perspective, give like
Mhm.
sacrificing and patience. Like to me, like those. Obviously, there's more deeper meaning to it. Like, the reason why I say that is because um and like I show like like I gain perspective because like I have so many amazing like things around me. Like, I have a roof to live under. I have like good clothes
Mhm.
to wear, like that keep me warm. I have a car to drive. I have water to clean and drink. I have food to eat 3 times or more every single day.
Mhm.
Whereas there's people in parts of the world where like they have no clean water to drink. They don't have it. They don't have a roof. They sleep on the streets. They don't have food. They don't have water. They don't have like like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm so grateful. It makes me very grateful for what
Mhm.
I have available, and it just like you know like sacrificing one time a year and gaining perspective for like people who don't have it good enough, like as we do, is it's very very meaningful, and it teaches you patience because you have to
100%.
but yeah, like it's yeah, like to me, like I really look forward to it when again it's hard, but at the same
Mhm.
time it's like uh it shows you like how good we have it, because we spend like 11 months a year like not realizing how good we have it, and we'll say like, oh, my iPhone is not working, bummer.
Right.
And like, what if like what if somebody whose legs or whose arms don't work,
Mhm.
like what do they have to say, like, oh, okay, your iPhone doesn't work, my whole arm doesn't work, like, but I'm like, I'm still
Exactly.
grateful, I'm still smiling, and to have that perspective is so key, because it humbles you, it makes you
Mhm.
realize that where you are right now is enough, and you can get more, but like you need to be appreciative of what you have, because somebody out there would kill
Mhm.
to have what you have. So like again,
Exactly.
just perspective, gratitude, and with patience, it's like you're fasting for, depending on where you are in the world. Like you can be fasting from 12 to 14 to like 18 hours a day. So I would say like a
Yeah,
window would be like
exactly.
12 to 18 hours a day would be a fasting window, where you're not allowed to eat anything. You're not allowed
Okay.
to drink. You're not allowed to swear. You're not allowed, like, basically abstain from anything that's uh, I don't know how to put it, but like any like abstain from any vices, abstain from like
Yeah.
any
Vices is a good word.
yeah, vices is a good word. Like that covers a lot of things, but yeah, like main thing like food and water, and like you have like your intentions should be pure. Whereas like most of the time, like I said earlier on, like 11 months out of the year, out of the 12, we were just in a mindset of like, oh, I don't have this good enough. Oh, this is not working. That's not complaining.
Exactly.
Versus like realizing, being present, and being like, okay, well, this is like we're enough. We have enough, and we can just like we can do well, and we can survive with what we have rather than
Mhm.
complain about it, because complaining never solves anything. So,
Exactly. It's kind of like first world problems versus real problems
absolutely,
in that
absolutely.
kind of perspective.
Mhm.
So you said it's about 12 to 18 hours a day. And I mean, so I was shocked by this one. No swallowing water when we brush our teeth. That one really shocked me.
Yeah.
Like that one was kind of cool to be aware of.
So yeah, like that's like the most extreme form of like, I guess you
Hmm.
want to call it sacrifice or like patience, because you're like, there's times like when I was a kid, like I've been fasting since I was like 12, I believe,
Okay.
and I'm like, I'm gonna be 31 this year, so like it's one of those things that's like, I've learned a lot, and I've like uh got like I've become patient, but like at the same time there were times when like I would forget that I'm fasting. Like as a kid,
Hmm.
I just open the fridge, and then I would realize, oh no, like I can't,
Right.
you know. But it's tough, because like like you're allowed to rinse your mouth, like you're
Yeah.
before you prepare yourself for the prayer. You're allowed to rinse your mouth and like clean your body and stuff, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like not so much like you can't, like nothing can go down your throat.
That
That's one
makes
of
perfect sense.
So it's like not even a sip of water. It's like makes you feel like, well, that person who doesn't have clean water available, who doesn't have,
Exactly.
like, you have to walk, like, and there's literally people who have to walk miles to like get a bucket of clean water, or like to
Yeah,
access a
exactly.
tap of clean water. And that, like, while you have it available in front of you and you open the tap, and like this water just like rushes down, and you can
Exactly.
fill up your glass, or like rinse your mouth, or like you can eat something opening your fridge. And it's like to learn that restraint.
Hmm.
It's
Restraint is a really good word there.
Yeah, it teaches you like, okay, like you can control yourself. You can control yourself from other things that are vices, that are like that, like learning how to be in self control. That's, I guess, that's another thing. It's like how much,
For
like,
sure.
there's going to be people are going to be tempting you. There's going to be always, like, you go on, you go outside, and you're walking on the street, and there's a restaurant, and people are eating, like, standing outside, or like somebody's like chugging uh Coke, or like water or whatever, and then you're like, well, I want that, but like you can't. That's
Exactly. And I'm sure like these self-discipline practices will transfer into your everyday life afterwards as well.
100%,
Y-
100%. It gives me so much more willpower. Like that's one thing. Like I've done competition prep during it multiple times, and I know it's tough, but like I look at it, like, and it's all about your perspective, right? It's like how you look at something. Like for me, like so I did one of the a show called Summer Shredding
Mhm.
in 2018. That was my second show, and the last 4 weeks were Ramadan, and I had to go to Houston, fly out to Houston to
Wow.
like compete on Eid Day, which is our celebration,
Mhm.
and it was a sacrifice in itself, because last 4 weeks so Eid was a sacrifice because I spent time away from my family,
Yeah,
and doing something away where like I could have been with my family. So I got back as soon as
exactly.
possible. But like the 30 days before it, it was my last 4 weeks out. So like I kind of took that as
Oh no.
and see, like, your perspective is different, because you're like, oh no, like that must be rough. But for me, I was thinking, well, my calories are super low, and I have a small window to eat, and I'm prohibited from like eating or drinking anything. So like I don't have any choice. If I feel hungry, then be it. Like I don't care. Like I
Exactly.
can't do anything. I'm prohibited from it. So like the till 9 p.m. I can't eat anything. So like I'm not gonna eat anything. And then in that 9 p.m. to 4 p.m. 4 a.m. window, I can eat my calories, and then
True.
practice that discipline. So that worked out really good. But another chance is like right now, like I've been so fitness to me has obviously like evolved quite a bit and changed.
Mhm.
Like I'm not a competitor anymore. Like I'm not.
Right.
It's just like for me. I care about things that are like I want to be more healthier. Sure, I want to be more jacked and fit, but at the same time, I'm like it's serious, but it's not that serious. So like now I go to the gym and train before I break my fast or after. Like I mean, that's my choice, but like I mean, I'm not gonna beat myself up. I'm like, okay, I can't train 6 times a week or 5 times a week because of fasting and all
Exactly.
that. But
Exactly.
yeah, like
So maybe do you want to walk us through maybe what some common myths are about like fitness and fasting? Because there's a lot of people who are thinking, oh, you're fasted, so you're going to be able to shred faster or things like this.
so yeah, like
I
the
know the
biggest
bane
one,
of our existence.
the biggest one I'm gonna tell you is like a lot of people are like, well, Ramadan's coming, so I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life because I'm fasting, so I'm not gonna be eating much. Well, and these are people who aren't aware of calories, what macros
Yeah.
are, how like basically like how any bit of nutrition works. They just
Hmm.
think eating less means fat
Yeah.
loss. And you and I both know as fitness coaches, eating less doesn't mean fat loss. Eating less
We
means
could
providing
actually
less.
eat more, right? Because we're in like binge mode afterwards because we're so hungry.
Exactly. Like most people don't look at calories as a form of energy. And if your body has negative
Exactly.
energy, like over time, it's not gonna do well. You need to survive first. And like besides Ramadan, like most people don't realize that like the primary function of your body is not fat loss. It's a man-made concept.
Exactly.
Its
Exactly.
primary function is survival and maintaining balance. Then come other things. But yeah, so like most people don't realize that, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna lose like 10, 15, 20 pounds during 30 days. And whenever I hear it, I'm just like, I don't say it as much like anymore, but I'm like, I just laugh on the inside. I'm like, you're gonna like hurt yourself so much during this time, and you're gonna hate afterwards, because they do two things. So they either binge when
Hmm.
it comes time, and then they're gonna be like, oh, I'm so full, like, and they think like just because I'm eating one meal or two meals, meaning think that makes them think that okay, well, I'm eating less meals, so I'm gonna lose fat. But in those 2 meals, they're
Exactly.
gonna like eat so much calories, and like like for me, like I live at home with my family, and they prepare their own food. I prepare my own food, like because for me, like having their company is
Mhm.
more important than like eating the same foods as them. But like,
Yeah,
so I'll still stay on track, and I'll still see them like devouring all the yummy foods that are like that my mom makes and stuff, and I'm like I have to make
of
that separate.
course.
But at the same time, I'm like all the calories that are adding up in that, and then they're thinking, I'm like, we're gonna lose weight. I'm like, there's no way, right? Like, there's no way. Like,
Exactly.
if you're somebody like, especially like, there's like all these like deep fried things that like the calories are they're calorie dense. Like, if they're you could be eating, you know what a samosa is, or like
Of course.
yeah, so like a samosa could be anywhere from like 300 to 500 calories, depending on like how fried it is or like what's in it.
How big that sucker is can make a huge
Exactly.
difference.
So it's like people think, okay, well, I'm gonna eat one, but that one's gonna have like 500 calories, and then you're gonna eat other things, and you're gonna have liquid calories, and like these people don't track.
Exactly.
So
All the mango juice and everything
yeah,
else.
so that adds up. That adds up really, really fast, and every day, and they're thinking like, I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life, and then once Ramadan ends, guess what happens? They start binging, and then they start like they would lose some weight. A lot of it will come from water, and then maybe some
Mhm.
fat. But then let's say some people might lose like 15 pounds, 10 pounds. They're gonna be like, oh my god, I lost so much fat. And then again, it's like the misconception, right? It's like weight is not fat. Weight is so many other things. So
Exactly.
they will not realize that, and then they will go back to their older eating habits where they're eating so much food throughout the day now, and now they're just like in a crazy surplus without realizing because they don't track, and they're gonna gain all that weight back, and then they go to the self-sabotage mode. I'm like, oh no, I was so good for a month, and like all that progress is
Exactly.
lost. So like I think Ramadan should not be looked at as a
A weight loss tool.
exactly, exactly. You nailed it. Like I was looking for the right word. Like you shouldn't be looking at Ramadan as like a weight loss tool. You should be looking at like, okay, well, how can I like build better habits? That's how I would
Exactly.
say. Because like most people who try it, like they don't work out, they don't track nutrition. They're just like, okay, like fat loss will happen magically. But like
Right.
I think it should be a time to build that discipline, like the foundational elements. If you're somebody, especially if you're new, like it should be a time
Mhm.
to like set those foundational elements so you can uh, you know set yourself up for success, not failure. I was going to say failure. Set yourself up for success later on, because like fitness should be a lifestyle, not like and a lifelong commitment, not just like X amount of time and then just go back to other other like other crappy habits, or like your old
Totally.
yeah, that don't serve you. So for me, like I would try to, like, if I were somebody new, like I would try to like uh learn more restriction in terms of like, or not restriction, but like control, self control
Mhm.
around different foods, and like eat, start to like eat in smaller portion sizes, like
Yeah.
and not just like completely fill yourself up with food, and learn to learn to see how your body hunger cues work, and all those things, like drinking more
Mhm.
water, having more vegetables and fruits versus like more calorically dense foods, like because like for me, like a lot of things, that habits that I built with my clients, are like those things, like sleeping properly, having more water,
Exactly.
fruits, vegetables, like those are things that our body can do well with, and over time, like then we
Exactly.
can talk about macros and like all that
Well,
stuff.
of course.
Yeah, but
Of
like,
course.
and those, most people need to realize that this is where they should start those habit
Mhm.
setting, versus like putting themselves um in a weird mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna lose a lot of fat, but you're eating a lot of calories, but you're thinking you're in a calorie deficit because you're eating
Mhm.
less meals but not eating less calories.
Exactly. It's kind of like a brain trick,
Yeah,
especially like if you think about the practices of like Ramadan, it could be equivalent to people who do OMAD, one meal a day. So it's those same kind of pitfalls that we can run into in both.
yeah,
So, Shay, do you want to walk us through maybe your top tips to practice fitness and wellness during
absolutely,
Ramadan?
absolutely. So one thing I always say is like, and like this applies to like a lot of guys, because a lot of girls, they don't try to gain weight,
Hmm.
but like a lot of like guys, they'll try to bulk up, or like
Of course.
put on mass. I would say, like, since this is such a smaller window, like your goal should be to either maintain or cut.
Okay.
Just because it's like, imagine putting 3,000, 4,000 calories in your gut in a small eating window. That's, your digestive system's not going to be much happier, right? Like
Yeah,
you're just going to be
especially
like,
like 200 G's of protein or something like
yeah,
there's
and it's like you're just constantly shoving down food just to like gain, and then you're gonna chug a lot of water, and you're just gonna be a lot of uncomfort. There's gonna be a lot of uncomfort, like in discomfort, sorry,
Mhm.
and I feel like this could be a time to like kind of reset your goals a little bit, or like shift your goals a little bit temporarily.
Mhm.
I always say like any pain or any situation is temporary. Like
Right.
like it's only 30 days. If you cut for 30 days, or if you maintain for 30 days, it's not like, time flies by. It's already April. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so time will fly by, but the goal should be to like either cut or maintain. I would say more so maintain.
Okay.
Just because it's like you don't have any pressure to like lose weight. You just like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
go along for this month, and I'm gonna like hit my goals like 10 times harder once it's done. The goal should be like not bulk or like put on size. The goal should be to like either cut or maintain, more so
Okay.
maintain, so your body can have enough calories, and not feel like it's gonna suffer from eating too much. So
Of
that's one
course.
thing I would say. In terms of training, so you can reduce your training times. Like I would say, like lower
Mhm.
down the intensity a little bit. Again, it's like
Okay.
the main premise of everything I'm gonna say is like it's temporary, 30 days. So like if
Mhm.
you were to like, let's say, lower your intensity, or like reduce your volume by one set per exercise, and lower the weight, or like trying to maintain and not try to set PRs, you'd be better off, because like if you're training fasted, which I have, like it's not fun.
Right.
And even yesterday, like I went to the gym fasted like an hour before um my fast, like I had to break my fast, and I was like, I still pushed through, but I was just like, I
Mhm.
just did like the bare minimum to like just give my body that stimulus to like, okay, I worked out, I'm pushing myself, and I'm like, um, you know, hitting every body part. Like let's say, instead of doing 4 to 5 sets each, I usually do full body training. So like,
Okay.
instead of doing, let's say, 4 sets or 5 sets, I'll do three. When I have to do
Makes
three
sense.
sets, I'll do two, because like your body will still have that stimulus, and then like you'll still remember the motor patterns of the exercises that you're doing, versus like just forgetting everything. You're not going to forget anything in 30 days, but like it's like you don't want to be like overexerting and then feeling dizzy or like faint. Like I was telling you earlier, like I'm like all in or nothing. So like I
Yeah.
remember one of the Ramadans, like this is when I started fitness, like my fitness journey, and like um I went to the gym during my fast. I was already under eating. I didn't know crap all about like nutrition, and I was just like, um, I just thought about like in fitness and fat loss is like eating less and exerting more, and I will be there. So this one time, like I would try to do like 1,000 calories in an elliptical in an hour, and if I
Ooh.
didn't hit 1,000 in an hour, I would consider that a failure. So it was just like a really tough time. So like one time I was fasting and I didn't eat anything, and I tried to do that, and I got on the treadmill and I like almost fainted, and yeah, like I had to break my fast, um, during like but that was like a learning lesson for me. I still
Yeah,
tell my friends about
exactly.
like you don't wanna overexert yourself. You don't wanna you don't wanna like you don't wanna kill yourself during the process. You wanna like still be able to
Exactly.
maintain proper function for other things. So like a proper time to train would be like
Mhm.
um, either shortly before you break your fast, so an hour before. So just like in and out, quick workout. Like you're not exerting yourself too much. You're not trying to hit PRs. You're not trying to like um, you know set a world record of the max
Exactly.
squat. Like just like push yourself like enough where like your muscle you're feeling it, but
Mhm.
or maintain the weights you're at. Don't try to progressively overload as much, and just like stay where you're at for those 30 days. And time's gonna pass, and you're still gonna be looking good. You can still get those fat loss results that you want. You can still
Okay.
like because again you're gonna be in a calorie deficit, right?
Right,
But
of course,
it's
majorly.
yeah, but like you're not gonna be progressively overloading. So like after that, like you after Ramadan, you can go back to your older training methods, but like either an hour before or you can have a lighter meal um during Ramadan. I mean during
Mhm.
when you iftar, which is like when you break your fast, and then
Mhm.
an hour later you can go train for a little bit, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever you can manage. Because again, you're short on
Mhm.
time. Most like it's later at night, so like a lot of people might be closer to their bedtime, or like
Yeah.
they wind down. So like it's best if you keep it short, so you don't feel like you don't have enough energy and stuff. And make sure to like if you're training after, make sure to properly hydrate when you break your
Right.
fast, because like again your body's lacking all the electrolytes and the water that it needs throughout the day, um,
Mhm.
and you want to avoid any cramps or feeling dizzy afterwards, and like you just make sure to hydrate properly. So for me, like I try to like I have my empty bottle over here, so like I'll have like a like so this is not a good bottle, but like I'll have like a liter of
Mhm.
water at least like when I break my fast, and again my stomach feels full. But
Yep.
it's like I just do it periodic. I don't just chug it. I just like periodic
Right.
like do it. And before I train, or like if I'm training before that, then that's totally different. But like for me, like
Mhm.
I make sure to have a light meal, have some protein in it, have like some quick carbs to get into your system, so you don't feel full. Because a lot of times
Exactly.
people will like I said earlier on, people will like fill their stomach up way too fast with like calorie dense foods, and like they're just gonna be like, oh my god, I can't eat anymore. And like people
So
often treat it
heavy.
as like who can eat the most after. And
Mhm.
that's not the point. The point is to like still like they forget like throughout the day they have the lesson of like, oh, we have to make the sacrifice, and once it ends, it's like, oh, I'm gonna shove so much food in myself like that I like that I don't feel hungry tomorrow. That defeats the whole purpose.
100%.
But like I feel like people can benefit a lot from like eating lighter and getting a quick workout after, and then that like and reducing the days you're training too. That's another thing.
Okay. So would
So
you say maybe like 3 days a week?
whatever you can sustain, that's what I
Okay.
do. So instead of pushing yourself, let's say 5 times a week, you can do four. That's
Okay,
one
that
less day
makes
in the gym.
sense.
If you do four and you can't sustain it and it's too much, then you can do it 3 days. So the
That
3 days
makes
I would
sense.
say would be minimum. But like there's people out there who don't train at all. And I would
Exactly.
say like for those people, I would say they should still be active. They should still like try to stretch, try to walk.
Go on a walk,
Yeah.
etcetera, right?
Like, go on a bike ride, whatever it is, like that you can do to divert your mind, obviously
Mhm.
away from like the fact that you're hungry and you're thirsty, or
Exactly.
it's you should still be active. You should not use that as a reason to be like, well, it's Ramadan, so I'm not going to train because it's like it's too hard. Well, life is hard in general, like but at the same time, it's like it's how you deal with certain situations, how you treat certain situations will make or break you. So for me, like some people can start off and kick off their fitness journey in Ramadan. Some people
Hmm.
like coast along. Some people can get in better shape during it. Because like I said, for me, like I'm in a calorie deficit right now. So for me, like it's a good time because I'm like all my calories can be fit in a smaller window of time, and during the day I don't have to worry about the food. And I'm gonna carry that discipline afterwards because I'm like my mind is gonna be in a state where I'm thinking, well, I have less calories, but I also like can like be more patient with myself. I can still be in control. And
Exactly.
I have to like think about food all the time because when you're trying to lose fat, like you get to a point at times where you're eating your meal and you're thinking about your next meal.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like so hungry and like oftentimes that's boredom. But I would say like you can be in a calorie deficit or maintain. Just kind of for a
Hmm.
recap of what I said, like be in a calorie deficit or maintain, don't try to gain. Try to do a quick training session, reduce the volume and intensity a little bit. Realize that it's
Hmm.
temporary, and if you have to reduce like a day to make it more sustainable and make your life a little bit easier, then do so.
Makes
Don't like
sense.
don't push yourself to a point where you're just like struggling and you're like, oh, like hardcore, like I need to hit my bench like 3 plates, or like my workouts don't count, because that's you and I both know that's not how fitness works. But like it's about doing
Exactly.
what's sustainable over a long period of time versus like killing yourself temporarily and then just like throwing in the towel, because most people do that. Most people
Hmm.
they'll they'll use this time to give up too. Like there's people like that as well, because they're like, oh, it's too hard right now because I have to
Exactly.
fast and I have to like eat. Like I can't eat during the day. I can't drink. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point of doing this? Like, because I'm not seeing results as fast enough as well. So
That's
yeah.
exactly. And do you ever find people do better whenever they train in the morning, right after starting said fast?
Um, I know some people do, but at the same time, like the only thing that I don't like about that is like you're gonna struggle for the rest of your day.
That's exactly it, because the no hydration.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. I can, like I've done a 48-hour fast. It's not really just, I just tried to push myself one time, like, or I think I
Hmm.
did that twice, and I succeeded at it. But I was
Hmm.
still like, I was still able to have water. I still like,
Okay,
so that was
good.
the thing where it's like, I still had energy. Like water, like helped me like just function properly. When I
Hmm.
don't have water, like right now, like my mouth is dry and it's hard to like. I'm not saying it's hard to talk, but it's just like the fact that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, I need water now, but I can't.
Right, it's kind of like paste mouth, right?
Yeah, so like when you're working out and you're tired and you're sweating and you're like, I could love a sip of water in between sets and you can't. It's hard, but
Hmm.
realize that like afterwards you're just gonna be drained. So like for me, like I perform better when I work out during the day or like in the morning. Like I feel like I
Hmm.
get it out of the way. But then again, it's like it's tough in Ramadan just because there's lack of energy. There's like uh
Totally.
because like let's say you start your fast at like 6 a.m. That's when you
Hmm.
stop eating at the moment. You work out at 6:15 to 7:15, and then you go about your day, and you have
Hmm.
7:15 till 7:15 a.m., let's say, to uh, 8 p.m.
Hmm.
You're gonna have no water, no food, and you're gonna be struggling, and you're gonna um,
Yeah, that's
be
rough.
like constantly thinking about when can I have the water. You're gonna be like, well, I could use a big nap right now for like 8 hours. It's not a nap, but like but like you're gonna wanna like it's just gonna be a rough time. So I wouldn't necessarily say to do that, but if that's all that works for you, then do it.
Hmm.
But just make sure to like don't go like full intense mode and just like kill yourself during that hour, because again you're gonna have to think after the workout how
Yeah,
you're gonna. There's
exactly.
no like there's no water intake. There's no like feeding afterwards. You're just like you're gonna be like sitting there looking at other people and
That's
and
one way
or
to put it.
no, because that's the thing. It's like there's gonna be other people who are gonna be eating around you,
That's
right?
true.
But at the same time, you can't do anything about it. So I would say like do it in the evening, either after or like a little bit before. But that would be my suggestion. That's what's worked best for me. So when to
Okay.
prioritize rest during Ramadan? Rest as in
Yeah. When would you
like
prioritize like resting your body or resting in terms of like in workouts? Like, do you take longer rest? Like you said, you lowered your volume, which for my non-fitness junkies is just lifting lighter weights
mhm,
or,
less sets.
just exactly less weights, less sets. and
Mhm.
just kind of easing off on things. So I guess that would be my question there. Like, when would you prioritize resting versus training? Where would you prioritize, you know, I'm sure you become somewhat nocturnal during this month.
It's yeah,
Where would you,
it's a little bit tough, just because like with our like especially with our schedules as a fitness coach, it's just like wake up early and then
work
like I
late?
go to bed late. I go to bed late. Like I don't wake up at like 4 a.m. I usually like I wake up like 8-ish. But like again,
Same.
yeah, but like again, I believe like what you do in the time you're up that matters more versus like waking up at a certain time. But
True.
yeah, like for me, in turn when I'm working out, like I try to like still I try to still take like a minute as given like how I'm feeling, maybe 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Just because I don't want to like die during the set. I still want to give like
Yes.
proper output during the set. Like I want to, if I'm doing 12 reps, I want to be able to like be present and like feeling good for those 12 reps and recover for those 12 for the next 12 reps versus just like crushing myself in the first set and then like taking 30-second rest and
Mhm.
going at it again and then just like feeling short at like 7 reps and then that creates a negative cycle of like, oh no, like I'm getting weaker. Rest,
Exactly.
rest has its own place. Most people think if you're not resting, if you're resting longer, you're gonna be, you're not going intense enough. But like for
Exactly.
me,
My big example is always watch the power lifters. They hang out for 5 minutes after they do their one, two,
yeah,
3 reps, guys.
yeah,
Like, it's for a reason.
yeah, and rest is important because again, you're giving your body enough time to like recuperate and just like gather itself for the next bout of like exercise. So like if you're doing 12 more reps and like you have 4 sets of 12 and you're just crushing the first set, going to failure, and you're just having a short rest time, like those 3 sets afterwards aren't going to be like the best. But if you
They're
let's
gonna
say
be crappy quality for sure.
exactly, so if you were to rest like let's say 1 minute to depending on if it's a compound or isolated what was it? Like yeah, isolation exercise, compound or isolation. Depending on that, like you'll determine your rest time. So like say for compounds, I usually rest for like 3 minutes at least. For my
Mhm.
isolation, I try to do like a minute, 45 seconds to a minute, depending on
Mhm.
like how I'm feeling. In Ramadan, I try to do a little bit longer rest times. Just like if it's a minute, then I'll do minute 30 to 2 minutes, just to give my body that chance to like
Beautiful.
gather itself. Yeah. In terms of sleep, I would say like it's hard, but again, it's like a temporary sacrifice. It's not
Yeah,
sure. Like when I wake up, like I feel more tired. It's because it's like the first few days your body needs to adapt. It becomes
of
easy. Like
course.
after like the first 5 days, I would say like it becomes easier just because your body
Okay.
um, adapts to that. Like as human beings, we're really good at adaptation. We are
Of
good at
course.
adapt. Like we have evolved so much. So like
Our body's really good at keeping us alive. That's for damn
yeah,
sure.
exactly. So for like what's the example? Like so when I'm on the treadmill,
Mhm.
so if I put myself at a higher speed, like that, let's say if I start at like 2.5, okay, 2.5,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like much, and if I ramp it up to 5, and like a 2.5 is like decent speed, but let's say if I ramp it up to not 5 but 4, and it's like
Yeah,
a little bit fast, but after a few minutes, 4 is not going to feel like that much because you're going to be like
exactly.
in that stimulus constantly, and you're gonna like that's going to be the new normal. And when
Okay,
you
I
go
like
back to
that. That's your new normal.
yeah, and then you go back to 2.5, and 2.5 doesn't feel as fast. 2.5 actually feels slower. You're like, oh, I would rather chill at 2.5 now. So like again, it's like
Mhm.
the adaptation like takes a little bit of time. Same thing with Ramadan. So like first when you start, you're gonna feel like hell. Like first 2 days, like
Of
unless you're
course.
busy, like if you're sitting idle, it's gonna be the worst time because like like an idle mind is a devil's playground, and like you just like think weird thoughts, and you're just like wait, looking at the clock, and when you are at a job when you really hate, and you just like, is it 5 p.m. yet? And it's only been 30 seconds since you started your shift, and
Yeah.
it's one of those feelings. But like if you're busy, so that's one another tip I would give. Like keep yourself as busy as possible. It doesn't have to be physical exertion, but do something.
Mhm.
Like go read a book.
Keep your mind busy and active, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that what that'll do is like make time go faster, and all of a
Makes
sudden
sense.
like it's gonna be like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and you're not gonna be like struggling as much. But in terms of sleep, like I said, like it's gonna be a little bit tough after first week, 5 days. Like it gets better, but like most people, like for me, like I used to stay up all night, and then I would go to bed at like
Right.
6 a.m. or 5 a.m. But like obviously like as my business has grown and like I have different responsibilities, like I can't just be doing that because like
Of
I would be
course.
waking up at like 1 p.m. then, and I'm like I hate that feeling when I'm like waking up so late. So I'm like I'll try to like I'll try to go to bed at like 11 or 12. I'll have like two
Okay.
meals and then I like during Ramadan I try to do 2 to 3 meals, like 3 meals
Mhm.
usually. So let's say I'll do one meal when I break my fast. 2 hours later I'll do another one, and then I'll let it digest and then I'll just go to bed around like 11, 12. Then I'll wake up at 5. So I'll still have that, like, my sleep will be broken. Like, usually we say, like, you don't want to get like a continuous 7 to 8 hours sleep. Like, you don't want to go into deep
Mhm.
sleep. It's going to be hard to do that. During this time, you're just going to make that sacrifice. But at the same time, it's like,
Okay.
then I'll wake up at like 5, 5:15, eat my meal, pray, and then go to bed again, and then wake up like a couple of hours later. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap.
Okay.
Because I feel like most people they work a 9 to 5, so like it's gonna be tough for them to like stay up all night. So like
Yeah.
they can do it the way I'm doing. So like, go to bed around 11, 12, and then, wake up and then finish the last meal. In terms of nutrition, I do want to say something though. Like I know the topic is not that right now, but like,
That's
um,
okay.
the thing I wanted to say is like, if you have goals to hit, like if let's say you have clients who have macros to hit and they're fasting,
Mhm.
I would highly, highly, highly recommend utilizing. I usually don't say this for like other times, but like utilize liquid calories and utilize
Mhm.
calorie dense foods. So, an
Okay.
example, like if you want to hit your carbs, you can have some juice or more rice or more bread, or you can have, let's say, so dates are really really good
Mhm.
for like carb source. They're really fast,
Oh, totally.
and so one of my clients, she struggles a lot with like. I started her off at 1,300 calories, and I know we talk about like low calorie intakes, but like you got to meet them
Mhm.
where they're at and increase them. So for
Well,
her,
of course. You can't
so
just double her calories overnight. I say that
exactly.
all the time.
For her, I was like, even before Ramadan, I was like, you should incorporate more dates into your diet because like they're this big, and you can like one date could be like 11 to 12 grams of carbs,
Mhm.
and if you have a couple of them, or like things like trail mix, or like
Yep.
peanuts, or almonds, or cashews, those are things that are really really calorie dense. Like like this much cashews can be like 300, 400 calories, and
I think it's
we
more,
snack
isn't
on it.
it?
I don't know, but like when we're snacking, we don't think about that. Just like it's so good,
Exactly.
you keep eating. So like if you want to like not fill yourself up and not feel uncomfortable in this time, sorry, it shook my laptop up.
That's
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, like um, in times like this, like calorie dense foods will be really really beneficial because you're not going to be putting that much stress on your gut and your digestive system, and you're still going to get your calories, and you're still going to stay on top of your goals, and then um, your body's not going to be angry with you, and your stomach's not going to be upset. So
Happy guts are a good thing. And
yeah.
how just to add on to this, how would you hit your protein with calorie dense foods? How would you
So
suggest doing that?
I realize like for me like I'll have like a couple of scoops of protein powder. That's one thing like I always use
Okay.
it like a I never say like protein powder as a supplement because it's not. Protein is a dietary need,
Mm,
and I look at protein powder as something that adds convenience to my life rather than
totally.
supplement. Because again, if I have 2 scoops of protein, like I have like the protein I use, I have like 32 grams of protein per scoop. So if I have 2 of those, so I'll make a smoothie. So like right now,
Okay.
I'll go over like the 3 meals that I have. So my goal right now
Sure.
is 180 grams of protein
Okay.
at
That's
the
a
moment.
lot.
Yeah. But so for what I do is like I'll have bowl of
Okay.
protein oats. So like that will have like so I have 75 grams of oats. That's 10 grams of protein right there. Two tablespoons of peanut butter. That's like 8 grams, and then so that's 18 right there. And then I'll have like 2 scoops of the protein powder that I have. Okay,
Perfect. So you've got like
that's
70 G's right there.
70 to 75 right there. And then I'll have, let's say, I'll make a yogurt bowl, or like
Okay.
a Greek yogurt bowl, or like a smoothie bowl, or like a smoothie. Put a scoop of protein in there,
Mhm.
or like have Greek yogurt in there. That will really help me like get like the 30 grams of protein right there. And then I'll have like 6 to 8 ounces of chicken breast, or like whatever is
Okay.
available, like tuna. I'll have that, and I'll just like that's gonna give me like 50 to 60 grams. And other foods will have like trace protein amounts too, right? So
Right, of
all of
course.
that just add up. But yeah, like the way I do it is like I use protein powder to my advantage in this time. Other sources that I can use are like eggs and egg whites that I can make like
I
an
was gonna
almond.
say egg whites must be a big part of them too.
Yeah, so that those really help me like. get my protein intake, because where most people they look at protein and they're like always, oh, it's so hard to hit. And again, like there's two things. It's easy for us because we've been doing it for so long, but
Yeah.
also it's like it's not that hard if you like put some time into like the
Planning.
preparation, planning, and set yourself up for success rather than failure. And over time, like you can find foods that you really like. You can have protein shakes, you can have protein bars, like whatever
Yep,
it is that
exactly.
works for you. Obviously, given your calorie intake, and so foods must be eaten in moderation. Like once
Mhm.
you do that, like it should be easy. So like protein intake is not that hard. Like I feel more hungry if anything. Like I feel like I need more protein. But um, like I like having more carbs and fats than protein. So like good balance is obviously like important. So like for me,
Mhm.
that's how I hit it. So like protein powder, Greek yogurt, chicken, um, egg whites and eggs. Like those are my main go-to sources. Like I like beef, but like I don't like just higher in fat. So like I would rather use my fats for other foods. So like
Makes sense.
yeah. So like I don't have anything against beef, but it just like it's one of those things that I'm like it's not readily available. Or like I just like how chicken tastes better. Uh, but yeah,
True, and I mean, you can always add in as well, like for my veggies, you guys, calorie dense would be like lentils and beans and legumes too, just to add into there too.
mhm.
Um, but Shay, I have one last question for you here.
Yeah,
This has been really insightful. What is your biggest takeaway or your biggest lesson to share with everyone? I added
no
this one in,
no worries.
unbeknownst to you.
No worries. Biggest takeaway from Ramadan?
Yeah, like what would be your biggest lesson to share from all of this stuff for anybody who's listening, Muslim or not?
So I'll say something that's like not just fitness related. It's just like on a
Sure.
general
Yeah.
level. It's like again, as I said in the beginning, it gives us perspective more than anything. It's like how good we actually have it. Like you're sitting in a comfy chair,
Yes.
in your room, and you're like you got light coming into your room. You're speaking, you're using the internet.
Mhm.
You're giving people value. Like so many things like you can be grateful for, like your client, your computer, your car. Like I can just create a big list. So like gaining perspective of like how good we have it, and like uh, how like there's people who are suffering on this planet, and like we should like before complaining, we should think about um, like how someone else could kill to be in your shoes. Like there's a
Exactly.
guy I used to follow, like Greg Plitt, like, and he'd say like about burning out. Like a lot of people complain about, I'm so burnt out, like I'm so tired. Like how about you go like, and he said this and stuck in my head is like he said that like you should go to like a hospital and go to like a cancer ward and like go see a child who has cancer and tell them that you're burnt out, tell them that you're
Yeah.
tired, and like watch that kid just die in front of you, like because that kid would kill to be in your shoes and have the hardships and the adversities that you have to stay alive a little bit longer. It gives me goosebumps
Mhm.
talking about it because it's so deep and like
For sure.
meaningful. Whereas like because we like I said earlier on, like we will complain about how like oh, we don't have the latest iPhone, or like we don't have the latest like um like whatever console gadget, like, and we just always complain. I'm like, I don't have the latest like outfit that like some influencer just wants. So
Exactly.
do we really need it, or do we really want it? Like and like we
My
you know,
package took 4 weeks instead of
yeah.
2 days.
Oh no. It's like it's one of those things where it's like when you gain perspective, it makes your life a little bit better. It makes you a better human because you're able to
Mhm.
respect other people more, and where they're coming from, and understand. Because like if you gain like perspective and gratitude in life, you're gonna live a much happier life, and like a life that's like where you complain less, because
Yes.
we complain more and are grateful less. But yeah, like it makes allows me to like Ramadan allows me to be more present with how
Mhm.
good I have it, and appreciate the things that I have, and makes me more patient, makes me have more willpower, and just appreciate everything much more. But yeah, like patience, willpower, like would be up there as well.
I love that. Thanks so much. Like this was really good. I think that we've learned like a lot of cool things that I didn't necessarily realize. I'm sure a lot of others didn't necessarily realize. If you guys are practicing any outside of Ramadan, if anybody practices intermittent fasting, a lot of these skills are applicable as well. Just changing time zones and everything else. There's so much practical information you shared today. So I want to thank you personally for taking 45 minutes of your time and really just
My pleasure.
sharing this and educating myself and other people too. This is really enlightening. And I hope it's a wonderful month for you. And just generally, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure
Thank
others
you.
do too.
I appreciate you too, fam. Like, and it's one of those things. It's like I like educating people, and I love giving people value. So like I feel honored and grateful that you asked me to share with your audience about my experience and like just enlighten people with like what Ramadan is and like how to go about like
Totally. Lots of misconceptions about it. So
yeah
I wanted to
and
clarify that.
yeah, like I feel like we're as coaches, like it's our job to make people more aware and get
100%.
resources for our people who can who maybe they don't have to go look, or they can find you know information from different areas of life, and there's no right or wrong. There's like only more awareness, and I'm really honored that you brought me on.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I'm going to end the broadcast. Oh, we've got a comment here too. One of my girls from our community is saying, we love how inclusive this community is. And that is exactly, you didn't realize, but I'm broadcasting to like 6 different locations right now.
Yeah,
So
no,
we are 100% inclusive. There's lots of beautiful, beautiful practices, religions, different forms of everything across the world, and there's something to take away and learn from all of them. And this particular practice is close to my heart. My university actively had an iftar dinner during Ramadan every night, and it was really, really pleasant to be a part of it. So I appreciate you, Shay. Thanks so much, and we will see you soon.